Welcome to 2020, and for my first review of the year, I have the new Klarus G15, a small form factor 21700 EDC style light capable of up to 4000 lumens on turbo from its Cree XHP 70.2 LED. Thanks to Klarus for sending me this early sample for review and evaluation. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe with the notification bell turned on and that you check out my Instagram and Facebook pages. Your support is greatly appreciated. So here is the package that the light comes in, and I'll insert some better pictures as usual. You can see it's a nice retail high quality box with the front, the flashlight itself becoming the one in the G15 model number. On the sides you get a few stats, battery that it includes, and that's capable of 2 amp charging. On the bottom here you've got that 5-year warranty, and on the side you've got a few more stats. On the back side you've got the features and specifications of the light, and I'll insert a picture so you can read those. Included with the light itself you get the manual, and you get a micro USB cable that's Klarus branded. You get a bag of accessories which includes an extra O-ring and then a lanyard. And then you get this nice little felt bag. The light also comes with that 5000 milliamp hour 21700 battery that I've got installed in the light right now. This light's made from aluminum and is anodized in a fairly smooth glossy black. The tail has a flat area here, which you can see. It's non-magnetic and it allows the light to tail stand well. You've got a lanyard attachment point right here, pretty standard, a lot of lights do this. And then you've got the clip here, and this only attaches at the back of the light. It does rotate around if you want it to. It's fairly stiff, so retention isn't an issue here. And the way this is mounted, it allows for a pretty deep carry, which I appreciate. The clip is non-reversible, and this is the only place it can be fixed to the light. Here's the milling on the tube here, and I really like this. It's a gear cut profile, kind of looks like an Inverness gear, but then there's 6 flats milled in here. To me, this gives a nice amount of grip in the hand. It's not too rough, it's not too aggressive, it works good for gloves or non-gloved hands, and it's not going to rip up your pocket. So I really like that texture and hope they continue it on future light. The flashlight only disconnects here at the end of the tube. Threads are square cut and nicely greased. They are raw aluminum. Inside the head here you can see you've got a double spring and the black circuit board there. The head here features the same button we saw on the ST15R and the XT21X in 2019 that I reviewed. If you haven't seen those, make sure you check them out. It's a silicon button with an illuminated ring underneath here, and with my video lights on, this is hard to see, but you can see it's green, yellow, or red depending on the state of the battery charge, and it just kind of glows. It's a nice touch without being overbearing. I like it. You've got a little bit of milling on each side here for style, grip, and heat dissipation. And then on the back here, you've got the silicon port for recharging. Underneath there is that micro USB port. It is standard depth and allows for a fatter cable to go in there if you've got one. The rest of the head here is pretty standard, smooth. Labeling is minimal with just the model number, a little hot symbol, and the model serial number. If we look at the head itself, we've got a flat bezel. It looks like it does unscrew fairly easily. You've got a anti-reflective coated lens, a orange peel reflector there that's fairly deep if I turn it there, and then you've got that big Cree XHP 70.2 LED in the center. I measured overall length of the Klarus G15 at 122 millimeters. Maximum diameter at the head is 27.5 millimeters between the buttons and charging port, and the minimum diameter on the body is 23.24 between the flats here on the milling of the body. Weight with the included battery and clip is 142.1 grams. Looking through my light collection, I don't have a ton of 21700 lights that are super comparable here. Lights that I have that are similar, or most similar I thought, was the Olight M2R Pro here. And I'll just kind of put that up next to it. You can see the Olight is a bigger light overall. It's longer by a half inch or so. It's a little bit fatter in the hand, does carry deeper, but it's more of an aggressive tactical light, especially with this bezel here. It does have that tail and front button and a little bit different milling on it. Here is the Klarus E1 I reviewed a couple months ago. It's an 18650 style light designed for EDC, and you can see it is shorter, narrower, but that's what we'd expect from an 18650 light. The Klarus G15 is using the Cree XHP 70.2 LED in a cool white at 6500 Kelvin tint. Being a 70.2 LED means there is tint shift across the beam, but it's not as dramatic as I've seen in other older lights. There is a slight increase in intensity in the center, but this is more of a flood style light than a thrower. And the spill here is very wide and it fades into nothing without really a cutoff. It just dissipates out. Okay, tonight I've got the Klarus G15. This is a new light. It's running the Cree XHP 70.2 LED at 6500 Kelvin. And here it is on the lowest mode, Moonlight 1 lumen. If I step up, it's a pretty big step. Low is 100 lumens. You can see it's a fairly nice, even beam. And on these lower modes, the tint out of that XHP 70.2, you know, is pretty good. 70.2 is known for tint shift, and at least at these low modes, that's pretty good. Medium here is 500 lumens. And as I pan up, you can see this is a pretty much floody beam. There's not a hot center or anything that's too noticeable. High here is 2000 lumens, and for 6500 Kelvin, this is a nice tint. Usually that's pretty cool. I'd say that might be a little bit overrated. And here is high 4000 lumens, not the hugest change to the eye. You can see it doesn't really have a throw. It's really just a flood mostly. Here is strobe. Just a little bit of comparison. Here is the Olight M2R Pro. This is high, which is only 1800 lumens, but you can see this is a lot different beam pattern, and I'm comparing it with this light just because they're size similar, run the same battery. You can see the M2R Pro throws a lot more, and this neutral white beam pattern here shows the grass and the fence and stuff like that pretty well. In comparison here's the Klarus. It's just a much bigger floody beam. It doesn't throw, but again, that cooler tint here does pretty well. You can see kind of on the side of the house a little bit of tint shift in the beam pattern as well. And again, here is that Olight, more of a thrower. Again, not a great direct comparison with the Klarus G15. Mode spacing here, as you can see in the table that I'll put up here, could be improved in my opinion. There's quite a bit of difference between medium at 500 lumens and high at 2000 lumens. An additional mode in there would be kind of nice, and that said, to the eye, there's not a lot of difference between the high at 2000 lumens and turbo at 4000, but it's not nearly as much as you'd think. Specs here, while I've got it up, is Moonlight at 1 lumen, low at 100, medium at 500, high at 2000, turbo at 4000, strobe is 4000, beacon is 500, and SOS is 500 lumens. My runtime graphs didn't really match Klarus's all that well. From the first test, I started at turbo, uncooled, and the light steps down pretty aggressively after about 3 minutes. From there, it ran and started to seesaw before the light heated up and then stepped down to cool off. But what was nice here is that active thermal controls, depending on the battery power, allowed the light to step back up in brightness before resuming this. This lasted, you can see on the graph here. The average output for the first hour was somewhere at 60% relative output, and the next hour you saw a pretty stable output at 45% relative output. From there, light started to step down slowly in small bumps at first before the low voltage protection kicked in at 185 minutes of total runtime. Overall heat here was well managed with the active thermal controls. At 1 minute, I measured 92 degrees at the head kind of center of the light here. At 2 minutes, 98 degrees Fahrenheit, and at 10 minutes I measured 96. Low voltage protection kicked in at 2.68 volts, which is lower than I would have liked to see ideally. The UI here is simple and straightforward. It has a total of 8 output modes. 5 of those modes are constant on, and 3 are in the form of blinking. You can long press from off, and you get Moonlight mode at 1 lumen. Press again to go off. With the light here in low mode, you can long press and cycle through the different modes, low, medium, high. You don't get turbo or double press to go to turbo, triple click to go to strobe. This light features memory mode for all the modes other than turbo or Moonlight mode or the blinking modes, which is what I like to see. And it also has lockout mode, which you can read about in the manual. I don't really use that. I just give the light a turn. I feel that to be more reliable, quicker, and easier to use than the electronic lockout. So recharging this light, it comes with a standard micro USB port here opposite the button. No complaints there other than I really feel like this should be a USB-C light for a light introduced in 2020 of this price range. I recharged the included 5,000 milliamp hour battery from the low voltage protection point at 2.8 4.25 volts to full at 4.13 volts in 3 hours and 35 minutes with a maximum charging speed of 1.99 amps. As the battery capacity filled up, the charging slowed down as expected, and I saw no problems with the built-in charging here on this light. No complaints on that front other than I wish I had USB-C. So the pros for me are I enjoy the compact size of this light for 21700. Again, it's pretty small. You could EDC this in a pocket if you wanted to with that clip. It'd be a little bit bigger than what I like to carry in an office type function, but it's possible. It's got a nice fit and finish as well. I enjoy that new gear tooth design on the body. It's got an easy interface. You really wouldn't have to read the manual here if you didn't want to. It's pretty intuitive and easy to use. And I like that it's got active thermal controls. More lights should do this. The cons for me are it's got that micro USB port instead of USB-C. At least the charging speed here is fast, so I can give it a partial pass. And it's got that pretty cool LED tint, which some of the characteristics of the XHP 70.2 tint shift across the beam. Both those aren't desirable in my opinion, but opinions will vary on that. So my conclusion is if you're looking for a compact 21700 style EDC floodlight with an electronic switch up front, the G15 could be a good choice for you. It was a surprise to see active thermal management here to allow the light to brighten up again after stepping down to cool off. Not enough lights do this in my opinion, and I like the texture here of that body grip as I mentioned before. Hopefully that's something that Klarus uses on future lights this year. I think this texture is just about perfect for an EDC. It's not too aggressive, yet it's something different. The 4000 lumen turbo mode here isn't quite as impressive as the numbers suggest. It's not significantly brighter than the high of 2000 lumens. That said, it's really a light that's best used on those lower outputs, so you can get more runtime out of it. Hopefully in 2020 we'll see Klarus switching to USB-C that will support C2C on their higher priced lights, and hopefully we'll see some other LED tint options other than a very cool white that enthusiasts like myself prefer the warmer or neutral white option. With all that said, I can recommend the Klarus G15 with some reservations. Thanks for watching to the end of this video and continuing to support me. Without your views, comments, and likes, it wouldn't be possible for me to continue to bring videos like this to you guys. I look forward to 2020 being a fun year, and I have a few ideas for giveaways and other fun events for those viewers who are followers on social media and of this channel. Make sure you check those out and like and subscribe. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. Thanks for watching.